a question, so I don't have a speech prepared.
Picture of the actual.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
I need that as well. Hold on. Don't go far.
What does this product bring to the table that a person running Linux would have in addition to what they can already run? And he already asked you that question, but I'm asking it to him.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I mean, you know, basically, first of all, let's be clear. This product is designed very specifically for the folks that are not building their own computers and are not, you know, figuring this stuff out for themselves. On our website, we have a whole area with links to free tools, open source projects that people can use. And that's great for somebody that does that stuff.
Yeah.
It sucks for my mom and dad who are here, or my brother, or my sisters, or most of my friends, or 99.9% of all the other people. So, now, with that being said, something that Linux on a box by itself already can't do, unless it in and of itself has been hardened, is if you're using it on a daily basis, then you're kind of stuck in that scenario where you're not quite sure whether or not, you know, whether or not it's compromised or not.
Yeah.
This is a Linux operating system. So this is a Ubuntu core that we've modified to make it do several things we needed it to do. The privacy side of things and its ability to boot on Macs and PCs without any additional changes to the machines themselves.
And on that note, is there any problem that could potentially arise if someone had, you know, a dual boot or even a triple boot computer? Like, would it interfere with itself?
If you watched closely that video, you would have seen there was like 7 or 8 boot options, boot drives that you could have picked from.
Okay, good to know.
But you just picked the one, the iCloAK one, and you're good to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Does it eliminate ad tracking? So you go to Amazon and then you go to another website and it shows what you search for?
No. And it eliminates it for you. It doesn't eliminate it for Google. What I mean by that is Google has to serve you an ad, right? It's being served up to whatever web page your browser calls. So if you call cars.com by typing in cars.com, it sends off a signal and says, hey, send me the cars.com website. Well, at the same exact time, Google is doing their deal. They're serving up the ads, and at the same time, cars.com is tracking the fact that you requested that website. But with iCloAK, it's tracking the totally wrong stuff. It's not tracking you, who you really are, with your real IP, your real MAC address for your computer, or the profile, the browser profile that a lot of companies have been using now to, it's called a navigator, that a lot of companies are using now to create a profile about you without cookies, without any of the things that they tell you that you can keep private. So you would still have that session of iCloAK that was tracked during that session, but as soon as you reconnect with iCloAK again, it's a totally unique session and it seems to that same server like it's somebody else. Does that make sense? So every time that you use it, you're like a different anonymous person. And so there's no way, because of that, to collate the data and track you over time. And that's the real problem. The real problem isn't that you show up at a site and that, you know, that site knows that you're there. That's not really a big issue. What the problem is that your IP address or your MAC address or several other identifiers are being tracked over time, and they build a long-term profile about you.
Do you want to talk about what is important for parents?
Yeah, well,
What data tracking does to their kids?
you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff happening, and again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I want to be clear, and anybody that's reporting on this, I want you to be clear. We're not anti-technology, we're not anti-marketing software, we're not any of that stuff. But there's so many abuses that are taking place without people knowing. For example, kids right now are being tracked at a level that as they grow up, nothing about what they case that just happened in the EU where Google lost. This gentleman from Spain, every time you would type his name into Google, the first thing that would pop up was this auction for a house that he had foreclosed on 16 years ago. So, man, you would look up, you know, John Jose Baez, and bang, this thing would show up. And he was like, well, it's so old. This is not pertinent to my life right now, but it's affecting me. Because people are looking at me like I'm, you know, a guy that's irresponsible or whatever. And anyway, back to the kids, the point is, everything is being tracked. I personally believe, as human beings, we learn much more from our mistakes than we do from when we succeed. You take a baby. A baby learns to walk by trying to stand up and falling down, trying to stand up and falling down, and eventually it walks. But what if you just recorded every single time that it fell down, and when he went to get a job at 18, you know, the employer pulls it up and like runs a stream of videos like, Jesus, dude, you can't even walk. You know, that's a little far-fetched, but what's not far-fetched is that education companies that are delivering educational products, curriculum to children in our schools over the internet are able to use that facility to track every click, every mouse move, and every reaction time of every child using those systems. I have 4 kids. 2 of my kids went to did FLVS, Florida Virtual School. And I started paying attention to this, that when they're on there doing the curriculum, we think that they're doing the thing they're supposed to be doing, going to school. Well, guess what else is happening? Those companies are using that reaction time and the tracking to determine, hey, this kid might have ADHD. Now let's create a whole list of these kids, sell it to the drug companies to mail advertisements to the parents at home. You might want these drugs for your kids. They seem to be a little scatterbrained. I don't like that. I'm sorry. I think that that is a blatant invasion of what we all collectively expect to be our own privacy. You know, I'm in my house with my kid on the computer. I have a reasonable expectation of privacy at that moment. And for the industry or government to say otherwise, we disagree. Now, how do you fight it? I'm not fighting the NSA. That ain't happening. I'm not fighting Google. That ain't happening. So the best thing that we could come up with was to develop some tools that gives you the ability to simply opt out if you want to. You may not want to. You know, we talk to a lot of people who are like, I don't care, let them track me, let them do whatever. We're also building other tools. We're building tools for your phone. These little Faraday cage bags for your phone so that your microphone can't be turned on without you knowing about it. Or your camera can't be turned on without you knowing about it. Or when you walk into a retail store and you walk up and down the aisles, which is what's happening in many retail stores right now, they're tracking by the MAC address that's being pinged out of your network card, your wireless cards. They're tracking that you showed up and then you showed up again, and you walk down the aisle for your prophylactics, and then you walk down the aisle for a big bottle of baby oil, and then you walk down the aisle for some alcohol, and they're like, hey, put 3 and 3 together, we got a party animal on our hands. So they're able to do this, and they're doing it right now, and you don't know about it. Do you see any signs when you walk into stores that tell you that? No. Sure.
Question on that note, does this software also help with like people who are worried about their search, you know, what they search on Google, you know, backfiring on them? Like I was hearing a news article the other day on the radio about how, let's say someone's trying to get health insurance. If they can look and see how this person searched, you know, researched diabetes, they must have diabetes. Let's up their health insurance.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges, is those are the kinds of things that are happening regularly right now. With ICLOAK, it would never be tied back to you. Remember, Google still knows what you search because you're asking them. You know, hey, what about diabetes? But they deliver it back to an address that you asked it from that's not you.
Yeah.
So it can never be tied back to you. And we've even built in facilities where you can change it on the fly. So even during your session, you can change it, and you can actually pick which country or which city you'd like to appear to be coming from, which is a nice little feature. Yeah.
Choosing
Big piece for me is what about this technology being used to quote people we don't want to quote? Pedophiles, child predators, that type of thing. What security is being provided?
It's a great question. So, did you guys all hear what his question was?
No.
Want to say it again?
What is the technology that it will also cloak the people we don't want quote? Child predators, pedophiles, and like that.
The answer is they can buy it just like you. They can use it just like you. But I'm here to tell you that if you go online right now and you just type in pedophilia or child porn, you ain't gonna find much. You know why you're not gonna find much? Because you don't know how to get to where that stuff is. But they do already. The hackers. And by the way, dear God, I don't mean to lump hackers in with pedophiles. That is not my intention at all. They're not even close. Yeah. But what I meant was malicious hackers, people that are doing things that are illegal and they shouldn't be doing. People that are trafficking arms or trafficking humans or pedophilia or whatever. These folks are already very sophisticated and they already have these kinds of tools. They're already on the Tor network, they're already on the internet, they're already figuring out how to create this stuff for themselves. Like I said, if you go to our website, we'll give you links to go build something like this for free. You don't have to spend a penny. As long as you're technically savvy enough to do it. That's not our market. Our market are people that are like, yeah, I'll just pay 50 bucks, you know, and use it. Yeah, she was just asking why it could be important about changing your location. There's actually a lot of different reasons, quite frankly, and IP addresses are actually becoming more granular. It used to be, they used to be able to just say, hey, you're from Florida. Then it was like, hey, you're from Central Florida. Now it's like, hey, you're from Orlando, you know, on 25 Wall Street, and currently you're at a party for ICLOAK. You know, so your address keeps getting more granular. If someone wants to target you, that's dangerous. Now, she was asking about military or law enforcement. It's dangerous for them too. And the ability to rapidly change where you're from or to decide where you appear to be coming from can be really helpful in a lot of those cases.
I was also trying to see the Harbor House. They have it's like a domestic abuse shelter, and so sometimes the women are trying to hide from their ex. And to have that at the shelter and not have to.
This is a big issue, you know. I mean, whether you're a whistleblower or you're a victim of domestic violence. I mean, let me tell you, they're the bad guys, the people that are doing some really creepy stuff, and I'm not talking about the NSA. But people that are doing nefarious, illegal, bad activities, trying to go after people. It's really helpful if you don't know how to do this stuff, but you can have an iCloak stick in your purse and you need to ask somebody for help, and you know that your husband or abusive boyfriend is monitoring with, say, like VNC software or keystroke loggers or all kinds of stuff. This would protect that person because they can be certain when they used it, they were invisible. That nobody at that moment could track them. And they can communicate more freely. By the way, we're building more communication tools into the product. So we're even building in a voice over IP phone. So you'd actually be able to carry this thing around on your keychain. Maybe you lost your cell phone, you need to make a call. You'd be able to plug it into a computer and actually use it as a phone.
Yeah.
You'll be able to do things like instant message with people securely, or send peer-to-peer emails where the email doesn't actually reside in an email server somewhere.
We have some travel bloggers, and I was thinking it would be a really good thing because a lot of us are in strange hotels or airports, and we hop on a strange Wi-Fi. Can you talk about how?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges, frankly, on when you're traveling is you don't know where you are and you don't know who's around you. one of the techniques that malicious hackers use is they'll go to popular areas like a hotel, airport, and they'll actually, you guys all know what a hotspot is?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, with a computer, you can launch your own hotspot, and you can name it, you know, Orlando International Airport free Wi-Fi. And the unsuspecting person comes along and they see that, and they will connect to it. So you can literally have all of the traffic and everything that you're doing recorded. If you're using iCloak, it can protect you from those kinds of things, especially once we launch a VPN part of the tool, but that's coming soon.
Price points, you mentioned $50 when you're talking.
There's two price points, $50 and $100. The $50 unit is just iCloak Stick. It allows most of the stuff that I've talked to you about, being able to browse the internet anonymously, changing your IP address, your MAC address. It'll also have a password tool on it that allows you to keep and maintain your passwords securely, and you carry them around with you so you don't have to worry about if you're at a friend's house and you can't remember how to get into the whatever because you don't have your password. That's $50. The iCloak Stick Pro is $100, and we're including on that a bunch of additional software for like productivity and things. So if you want to edit Word documents or Excel documents, or you want to have the voice over IP feature, or some of the other features, that'll be in the iCloak Stick Pro.
I know you were talking about phones a little bit, and that crazy thing about the microphone. That really like weirded me out a little bit. But are you planning?
It's really real.
Yeah,
Oh, I know it's real.
And so, are you planning to make a mobile privacy suite for mobile phones?
Yeah, we are. There's some challenges with the mobile space with regards to locking it down the way we want to. So our very first product has nothing to do with software programming. It's quite literally we've sourced the kind of material that has silver, literally silver metal threads in it. It's very soft, nice material, and we're prototyping Faraday cage bags. And basically what this is a little bag that you can just stick your phone in, and when you stick your phone in this cloth bag and you seal it up, no electromagnetic radiation can get in or out of the phone. Now you can't receive a call, so you know, remember that. But at least if you wanted to be in a private meeting, you can be guaranteed that there's no way that anybody can listen to you or turn on your stuff.
Unless they turn on someone else's phone.
Yeah, somebody else's phone.
But I was kind of asking if we would do something similar to what you're showing today, like privacy in browsing.
Some of it we can, and we will. We're already working on it. I don't expect it until the fall to be able to release the downloadable stuff, but we are working on tools for tablets and phones and mobile devices that you can just download and use. It'll protect you from a lot of things, including things like allowing you to change your IP address, to spoof your MAC address, do some of those things. What it can't protect you from when you download software onto any device is if the device itself has been compromised. Because then it doesn't matter what you have on it, somebody's watching it the whole time.
I've heard about
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I've heard about news stories in the past about how some manufacturers of phones actually pre-install tracking software onto them. So that gets really lower level than what something like that can do, right?
Yeah, that's why this product is what it is. Because at the lowest levels of your PC, if you have a rootkit on your PC, your antivirus isn't finding it, and you can do anything you want, and you don't know that it's there. With a device like this, we're literally replacing your operating system, and you never touch it. So that's why.
And obviously you can't go that far with mobile phones, but you can try and get close, right?
Right, but we actually believe that we can. It's just it's going to take a lot more money and a lot more work for us to test it and to do it. Yes, sir. If your computer is filled with every virus, backdoor, Trojan, keystroke logger, screen monitor, everything, when you plug iCloak Stick in, you reboot your computer. Actually, we'll grab you a lot of that. I'm going to show you. Great question.
I'm weird, yeah. Xbox. My son is Xbox. It's scared that I have.
Yeah.
Anything out there that pulls off
I don't have anything for Xbox yet. Well, that's a great idea.
No, but Xbox is compatible with PC stuff, so it might work. Yeah.
I don't know. We can try it.
It might work. I know a lot of PC stuff's compatible with Xbox, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Because
thought
Microsoft kind of owns both. So.
Yeah.
I know. I've done it in reverse. I plugged an Xbox controller into my PC.
all it's you know, they do it, right?
Oh, I know.
People then they approach them and say, hey, you know what, I want to give you money to do this, this, and that. And then they actually figure out military systems.
Yep.
It's
Guys, all right, so we're actually gonna. I didn't plan to do this, but we're gonna do it for you real quick. This is exactly how this would work. So,
Sorry, Maurice.
so now his computer's off right now. He's just turning it on, and he's holding the whatever key it is, F12. And so we just choose the iCloak. We choose the iCloak device. Now it takes approximately just under a minute for iCloak to load. What it's actually doing at this moment is it's analyzing what it's been stuck into. It's figuring out, okay, what hardware am I working with? And then it's executing its code. The code that's being executed right now is it's loading all of it into the RAM of this computer. It's never touching the hard drive where any of the viruses or malware that you asked about would actually reside.
Yeah.
RAM works differently from your hard drive. Electricity or memory in RAM is held there by electricity. So it's only there while the computer has electricity going to it. Now what's happening is the entire iCloak system is being loaded into RAM. Then you get a screen that looks like this. So now you're on what looks like kind of like a desktop that you would have in a typical computer. And this is our launcher. Now this launcher is not a window, it's actually part of the system. And this is where we put in the tools for you to work with. So in this case, I could go to connections. Now you'll see what this has done is it actually has a list of all of the Wi-Fi signals that this antenna can pick up in the area. So it's listing them all right now. Now, this works very similar to the way your regular computer would work. If it's a lockdown Wi-Fi network and you don't have the password to it, you can't get on it. But if it's some other network that you can get onto, you get onto it. You put in your password and you do your deal. There's more information, and then there's apps. So the iCloak apps are specially designed by us to not leak any information. And this is a very critical component of what we're doing. There's so many pitfalls, so many little tiny things that you can do that you don't realize you're doing that's revealing who you are. And everything that you've done then can be tied back to you. So in this case, you see we have the internet browser. I'm not connected to a network, so I'm not going to bother doing this right now. But if I launched it, it would actually give you two options. One is just to connect directly. The other option is if you're in a country or you're in a network that has things blocked or has a firewall that would stop you from getting to certain places, you can use something called a bridge to get around it. So it gets you around the great firewall of China or some of these oppressive regimes, and it would actually allow you to do those things. So for the travel bloggers, you know, Cuba's just opened up. You go down to Cuba, you have a little trouble, bring an iCloak with you, you'll be okay. Word documents. So we have a product in here that's called AbiWord. This is an open source word processor and it works with Microsoft Word documents and all that stuff. No licensing, no fees. You don't have to worry about it. You can use it. And if you were actually working on your Word documents and you wanted to keep those things safe, you can do it in this environment. And then there's a lot more. There's spreadsheets, a Bitcoin wallet. By the way, even the non-pro version, the regular version, will ship with a Bitcoin wallet on it too. So people that want to use Bitcoins to do commerce or go shopping anonymously, you'd actually be able to do it with this.
Can you explain Bitcoin since there's a few people who don't know?
Raise your hand if you don't know what Bitcoin is. Okay. Email, instant messaging, and the voice over IP stuff. So
Its own email program.
oh, and by the way, you notice I've just taken out the ICLOAK stick, but it's still functioning just fine. This is very important. Why is this important? Right now, we're not connected to any networks. So the NSA themselves, with some of the greatest kick-ass stuff that they do, and they really do some cool stuff, how would they infect this drive? I'm putting it in my back pocket. There is no way to infect it. So that's how you know, how you're guaranteed that every time you use it, it's clean. Because I have never even connected to anything. Does that make sense? And the program still runs just fine.
So what are you saying? So are you saying that once you're up and running, like then you're connected, remove it? Or
No, anytime. As soon as it's loaded, you can take the iCloak stick out and you can just put it away. You don't need it anymore. Because it's all loaded into RAM. Everything that's going on is in the RAM of the computer. Now, watch this. So, to your question, sir, if we got infected, which it's possible. Listen, I know lots of hackers, and we have we kind of have a saying that, nothing is unhackable. With enough time and money, you can find a way. So let's say that we visited a malicious website while we were using iCloak, and we actually got infected during our session. Well, the great thing is, when I go shut down, the power goes away to the RAM. What happens to all the memory? There are no cookies, there are no anything to recover, there are no files that the best forensics guy in the world could get back out of the system. It's gone. And this is a law of physics. This has nothing to do with software programming. It can't exist anymore. Now, just turn your computer. Now, if we turn on his Lenovo, it's just going to boot up regularly. And it'll be whatever it is, but nobody would ever know that I used iCloak on this machine. It's impossible to tell. Quite literally. Okay, anyway. What was the other question? Who? What?
Well, I've asked 100 questions, so someone else wants to ask one first.
Yes, sir.
Give me a minute.
All right, go ahead, you're up.
So, I heard you earlier talking about, that this can circumvent, or not circumvent, but it gives it the same abilities, as the people that, are really good hackers, the human traffickers and stuff. Is there a way, potentially, I guess, to use this to maybe, help, defeat some of those people since they can't track you when you're looking for them?
Sure. And again, this is this back and forth thing that's going on now anyway. You got the good guys in law enforcement that are trying to get the bad guys. And actually, this is a great tool. Contacted by some law enforcement folks and said, man, you know what? Some of our undercover agents can really use this.
Yeah, because the way I'm thinking about it is you could potentially help some whistleblowers who are trying to put a foot in the door in human trafficking.
Absolutely.
That's the first thing that I thought of when I heard you say that.
I did an interview with the Blaze yesterday, and when I was talking with the reporter, she said, I've been talking to folks around the office, and so many people here want this product because they're not techies, but they need to do research on really sensitive stories, and they're concerned. They want to be able to be anonymous when they're doing this research, and they don't know what to do. So this is another great use of it, and those are those kinds of things.
I've learned a lot of possibilities. They have a lot of patient information and things like that. Are you working on some way to, I know there are a lot of regulations about healthcare and health laws. Are you working somehow to reduce possibilities on healthcare information is safe?
Not until I get about my third round of funding. That's a very big nut to crack, and we have to deal with one thing at a time. Believe me, I would love to be all things to all people, but we do have a vision for iCloak. Our vision is very simple. iCloak itself is a brand. iCloak is a brand for anonymity and privacy. And our plan is to build as many products like iCloak Stick, like the Faraday cage bags, like the license plate covers to stop your license plates from being photographed everywhere that you drive and recorded for 15 years, and every route that you take to be able to be pulled up ad hoc by anybody that wants to, that has access to the systems. And by the way, one note that I haven't mentioned here. There's an awful lot of incredibly great people that are out there doing great things. And there are honest people doing honest things with data to try and help all of us. I use a bunch of these services. I love them. They provide a lot of value to me. I'm not worried about people that are honest, doing honest things with the data. But if you think that by Orlando expanding its budget to put in even, not just red light cameras, but to put in Bluetooth monitoring stations at every intersection around Metro Orlando so they can track your phones, your Bluetooth phones, to know who you are going from point to point so that they can do traffic control, maybe that's all they're going to do.
Right.
And that's great. And if that's all they do, that's great. But here's the problem I have. However secure they think their system is,
Anything can be hacked.
there's one system that I heard about that's probably the most secure system known to man on the planet. And one 29-year-old guy walked out the door with 1.7 million of the most top secret documents on the planet Earth, protected by the Fort F and Knox of the government. That was Edward Snowden. So, if the NSA themselves can't keep their own data safe, how the hell is the Metro Orlando City Council going to do it? Or any other website out there? And that's the problem. And again, it's not an anti-tech thing. I love it. I'm just saying that you and you and you and you and you and all of us, we just deserve a choice. And if you wanted to opt out from having your cell phone Bluetooth signal tracked driving around, how would you do it? Yeah, you would use my product. But without my product, how would you do it? You have no idea. That's the point. And people just don't know even how to think about it. And listen, it's not that people are stupid. I mean, people do all kinds of great things. They can learn all kinds of great things. But people are also busy. They got jobs, they got to shop, they got to eat. You know, me and Felipe and our team, we do this every day for a living. You know, so that's why we know this stuff. My dad does it. You know, my friends don't. So that's who it's for.
Yeah, real quick on that car thing, I was on the highway thing. I was going to say, in Miami, if you don't have a sun pass, you have to have. They always take a picture of your plate, and there's no real toll booth.
That's right.
They just bill you in the mail.
That's right.
They take your pictures.
That's right. Yeah, it's insane. It's bad.
They do that in Orlando too. If you don't pay your tolls on what the toll is.
No, don't get me wrong. You should pay your tolls.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, you're driving on the road, pay your damn tolls.
But who else is getting that information besides, you know, the tollway authority?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
All right.
You remember?
I did. If you're in your home, coming out of your router, is it still encrypted?
What?
If you're sitting in your home using your wireless connection, does the iCloak still mask your IP?
Yes and no. There's a gap. The gap is between your actual computer and the on-ramp to the internet, or specifically the Tor network. So what happens between those 2 points is your traffic is available to what's called a man-in-the-middle attack. So somebody could actually see that stream going from your home to where you get on the internet. Now, you can defeat that, and when iCloak launches in the fall, we will be launching with it a VPN service, which will be really cheap, like $5 a month. And you can get a VPN service that will protect that short period of that short space. Once you're on the internet, then you're fine. but there's still that gap between your house and when you get on the internet. Everything that's coming out of your computer. Everything that's coming out of your computer. That's why it's the best method is to use ICLOAK plus a VPN service. Well, you're only susceptible if you're being targeted. And when I mean targeted, I mean some really badass person is after you, and they're outside your house, and they got those little wire clippers on your phone line. You know, 99.999. No, but it's for pre-sale right now. Today is when it started. Go to those computers that are right along that wall. Go to our Kickstarter campaign. And actually, for anybody that's doing it tonight, you'll probably get in. We did some early bird reward levels where you're actually getting it for, I don't know, 30 or 40% off of what it normally would cost. If you go donate to the Kickstarter campaign, as soon as it's available, you'll get it before anybody else.